AVP Wargamers, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to talk about why Games Workshop is banning playing games in Games Workshop stores. Also, I'm going to talk about new Aliens and Predator news, including Predator Hunting Grounds updates, and we're going to show my print of the day, the Papskles Omega Cololax Titan. Blah. Alright, welcome back gamers, it's Jason with another video. So, what's going on in the world today? Well, I was watching the Northern Exiles YouTube channel. I just discovered him tonight. I'm going to put a link in the description below because he really explained this well. But I'd kind of like to talk about it. And it's about the fact that Games Workshop is now discontinuing playing games in Games Workshop stores. Now, not all games, obviously, they're going to have their demo games on their little itty-bitty tables. And I don't know how it's like in the rest of the world, but at least in the Northern America area where I live, I've noticed a lot of Games Workshop stores have been pretty inhospitable for the average gamer who collects the product. Why is that, you might be asking? Well, I think I can figure it out, and of course this is just my opinion, my speculation, but back in the 90s, Games Workshop was very hands-off their customers, you might say. They pretty much just ignored their customers. They did have the magazine that would have like battle reports and interactions, and there was campaigns that they would send out to the local game stores. So there was like a couple campaigns which I actually got pictures of some of my miniatures in, because they had this big new Tyranid campaign. The Tyranid Codex had just came out, and they wanted games being played all over the United States, and then people would mail in the results to their battles, and then it would push the lore forward a little bit. Other than that, there was really no internet and no way to really connect with the creators of the game other than through their own publication. And most of the time they just ignored us. But it didn't matter. They had a really fun game, and the game stores were very active. And the attitude for most gamers in most game stores would be like, well, let's just pack the place full of gamers, they'll buy our product, which for me, I mean, that's what I do. If you host me in your store, I'm gonna give you money to your store. There's a game store up here in Oregon called Gangai Games or Ganji Games, and they give you free soda and water the whole time that you're there. You just go to their fridge and help yourself. And they have a very small selling section where they sell games, but the place is mainly playing tables, and you just mainly go there to play. Now, I from what I can understand is the way their business model works is they make most of their money online, doing online sales. However, they have a warehouse style area and an industrial side of Portland where you can go in, play games, and buy games there. Now, every time I go play, I'm just so grateful they're handing out free soda that I just, I find an excuse to buy something, whether it's a little piece of paint or a miniature. And I've spent, probably over $100 there in just the few days that I've gamed there. Just because, I'm like, they're giving me free soda, I might as well pay, $40 for a new miniature, even though that's very expensive for a miniature in my eyes. I'm like, they're nice enough to do this, I'm going to gesture back with my generosity. And I know not a lot of people are like that anymore, but I just think it's good business to be hospitable to your customers, allow them to enjoy your space, and then in turn they're going to reciprocate back and give back to you. I know, again, not a lot of gamers are like that, and I can see how some Games Workshop stores, the way they're set up, and this is why I don't like gaming there, they have small tables that are just big enough for some demo games, and that's pretty much it. There is a Games Workshop store in Olympia, Washington, that is pretty good. They have bigger tables, they had more stuff. It's an official Games Workshop store, and every time I went in there, it was packed with players, it was fun, all the players seemed pretty hygienic, which was nice. And again, the Northern Exile, he kind of talks about how hygiene plays a big part in accepting new recruits, as he would say, into the hobby. Because, one of the biggest things, at least for me, when I go into stores, is I want an atmosphere that's welcoming and doesn't smell bad. And unfortunately, a lot of gamers smell bad, and that's a problem that we need to, as a community, address and help each other out with, because it's like, we're all socially awkward people and might not have the best self-perception of ourselves, and I think we do need to help each other do better in that category. Not all of us are Henry Cavill with our miniatures. We got some big Hollywood star that is very nice to look at for the ladies, but unfortunately not a lot of gamers are like that, and it's just something that you either not may be able to help, or maybe you just lack the awareness to correct that situation. So anyways, I think a code of conduct and or dress standards would be acceptable for game stores to implement in order to have a more attractive gaming environment. Not only with the attractiveness of the people, but also the smell of the area and the product and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if you go to Disneyland, they pump nice smells into the park because they want people to constantly just be enjoying themselves, and then that in turn makes them want to spend their money on the place that they like. So anyways, that's my 2 cents. That's just my opinion, but I think the Northern Exile made some really good points about how the corporation that runs Games Workshop and how they want to get their customers versus the independent games store and how they treat their customers. So yeah, let's go back to 1990 and kind of talk about a little bit about how Games Workshop used to be. They used to be a kind of a shadowy company that put out really good games, and they always wanted players to play the games, kind of come up with their own storylines and own campaigns, and then sometimes include themselves in a big campaign to help push the lore and the story forward. I remember when the Tyranids Codex first came out for 2nd edition, they had this big Tyranid war that happened all over the world, where all these game stores, most of them were independent game stores back then, as most of the game stores, we had this big Tyranid battle, and they would send in the results of this battle, and then they would tell you if the world the Tyranids were attacking was either devoured or not. And in that campaign, the Tyranids weren't that great of an army, unfortunately, and the Tyranids got wiped out. But that meant that this planet in the lore was saved by the forces of the Imperium and various other Xeno legions, and the Tyranids were pushed off the planet. So kind of fun. I kind of like that idea, is doing big, massive campaigns like that and include the citizens and the games of the shops of the world to come together for that. But then there was the dark ages of gaming that kind of happened between the late 90s and mid-early 2000s, where basically the iron wall of Games Workshop came down, and you didn't know what was going on in the company. The only thing even the game store owners, even the official Games Workshop store owners knew was that, oh, this release is coming out in 2 days. Like, that's the only thing they know. You'd ask them, like, hey, when's the next codex coming out? Or, hey, what's the next big army? And the Games Workshop store owners were like, I don't know, it depends on what they send me next week. And so it was kind of this mysterious, shadowy thing that, like, nobody really had any idea about. But then, right before 8th edition came out, the new CEOs of Games Workshop finally opened up to social media and actually opened up to the public. It was like, hey everybody, sorry we've never ever talked to you before, but we're going to send you the survey. And suddenly all the gamers were just like, oh my god, they're going to talk to us? Games Workshop wants our input? Because before that, it was just social media. It was just like all these social media groups talking about Warhammer 40k and Warhammer, but nobody had actually talked to the company that produced the product because it was so quiet. But then Games Workshop realized that they wanted to harness social media and finally hop on the bandwagon and opened up to the public, which was great. It was great for a while until recent years. But throughout 8th edition, that actually or into 7th edition, beginning of 8th edition Warhammer 40k, I kind of got brought back into the hobby about that time. Not only because Games Workshop suddenly seemed like they turned a new leaf and was ready to accept more people into the hobby, but also the fact that the game just got a lot more accessible and better to play. Oh my god, 7th edition was... if you liked it, you win. Have at 7th edition, but I hated it. I hated looking up keywords, trying to figure out the game. It took me and a friend, when we were learning the game by ourselves with the rulebook, without anybody to teach us, we're just flipping through this thing, and it took us like 8 hours to play a 500-point game. We were just like, wait, what's that hatred do this in this edition? What's that keyword do? And you just had to cross-reference. And finally, 8th edition was like, screw that. It's gonna be simple. Here you go. And I feel like they're starting to walk back the progress they made with 8th edition, with 9th edition, because 9th edition and now is starting to do that. It's starting to cross-reference and get more complicated, where you're just like, wait, this guy's aura ability now has to ricochet off of these 2 aura abilities, and what's this do? What's that do? I don't know. It's 8th edition was close to perfect. I think 9th edition is starting to walk backwards in that progress. There were some improvements, like I thought the Tyranid army got a little bit better, but it is what it is. But yeah, Games Workshop not wanting games in their stores kind of makes sense if you just think of it as like a corporate greedy person. The Games Workshop stores are just about recruitment, but because they're a corporation, they don't really look at what that means. They think, oh, a starter set, that's recruitment, you have to buy the starter set, and if your game store isn't selling enough starter sets, you're not meeting the numbers. But what if the consumer walks in and is like, hey, I don't want to play those armies in the starter set, I want to play this other army, and then get into that. And the game store owner, your job is to make the experience the best it can be for your consumer. You want to make them happy about their purchase. You want them to come back and keep buying your product. So you're going to sell them what they want. And ultimately, they got the wallet. It's up to them to make that decision. And like some of the editions, like I don't want to play those armies in the box sets. Like when Dark Imperium was out, I'm like, I don't really care about the Chaos faction or the Dark Angels. I play Tyranids. I have generic Space Marines for my other army that I've designed. The specific, Dark Imperium box set just has no value to me. So I would want to buy, the specific models I needed to upgrade my army to that edition, or just the rulebook itself. And I think that should count as recruiting somebody into the hobby. But according to the Northern Exile, he was saying that that's not how the corporate mind works. It's like, no, this is the starter set, and that means you got a new customer. If you sell all these other sets to new customers, they don't count as new customers. That's how they think. And so they're thinking, oh, if you're going to have a bunch of customers that smell bad sitting in your store playing games all day and not buying the product, that's taking up our time, our the energy, the power bill. They're blocking customers, and they're turning off customers that are curious about the hobby. I mean, honestly, would you go start a new game if everybody that you met firsthand, like the first time you were introduced to a game, were assholes about the rules, or they smelled bad, or they were fighting all the time, or they were just trying to win or cheat? Like, you don't want those kind of players in your store to begin with. So I get it, but at the same time, if I don't feel welcome to a store, like if I can't bring models from other companies into your store and play with them and be cultivated in that way, like why am I going to your store? It sounds like you don't want me there. That's how I feel. Now the other local game stores that I've played at too, like the local 40K tournament, the reason why I really liked going to that at the time before pandemic was it was like most of the guys that gamed there were pretty relaxed. It was competitive, but it wasn't like people weren't flipping the tables when they lost. They're just like, oh man, I lost. It was just like, but your army looks really cool. So I liked that group of guys. Everybody got along pretty well, and we had our awkward nerds there. We had a couple guys that probably forgot to shower, but again, it was a well-ventilated store, and everybody was really kind and nice and accepting, and I never had any problems, in the gaming scene, with acceptance and inclusion when it comes to just people wanted to play games. We were all socially awkward nerds that didn't know really what to do other than we loved the games that we played. So we had a great time together. I didn't know anybody's political, leanings. I didn't know anybody's real family status usually, unless they were wearing a ring or talked about it. And I was just like, hey, I don't know your name. I want to play a game. You have miniatures. I have miniatures. Let's duke it out and have fun. And if there was a rule discrepancy, we're like, hey, is that really how that rule is played? And we'd ask the game coach or whoever was in charge, like, hey, how do you interpret this rule? And they'd be like, oh, and they'd make a call, and we're like, okay. Or we just roll a dice. Like, I tell you what, 5, 4, 5, 6, I'm right. 1, 2, 3, you're right. So, that's how we would resolve our disputes when it came to rules and all that kind of stuff. And it was not a big deal. We were just, getting there to have fun in a competitive setting, and it wasn't like, anything bad was going to happen if you really lost, and there was fun little raffles that you would have, and they'd give away product and stuff. I mean, that's the kind of game atmosphere that I'm going to want to be a part of. It's like you go in, be like, hey, you pay $5 to join the league for the month. At the end of the month, you get a raffle ticket for every win, or you get like maybe 2 raffle tickets for every time you win, 1 raffle ticket every time you lose. Write your name on it. At the end of the month, we're going to give you a gift certificate to the store. It's like, all right, awesome. And then, you might win a $20 gift certificate, and there's barely any models you can buy for $20 nowadays. So obviously you're going to spend more than $20 at the store. That's a win-win for the store. They got your money signing up. They got, and if they get enough signups, that's enough to cover the raffle prizes. And then on top of that, they're going to get those extra sales from the products that you want to buy and put a little bit of that gift card towards. So, it's a win-win for the game store. They're making money. When you play at their store, you're making money when they leave the store. And then on their days off, they might bring in their coupon, to get the product. And on certain nights, they even had discounts where if you were a member of the league, you would get, an extra 5 or 10% off Games Workshop products for playing their Games Workshop games that they supply. And that was a cool deal. That was really cool, And even though the models were overpriced, I was like, get a little bit of a discount. I'm supporting the store. I feel like they're giving back to me, so I'm going to want to give back to them. That's how it should work. But Games Workshop, they just want to, set up their little demo, kind of like an infomercial. It's like, hey, come in, play this game. Okay, give us money, get the hell out of here, so I can get another person in. That's unfortunately a way a lot of corporations think, and I don't think it's really conducive to the hobby. And, to be honest, I think that 3D printing is definitely going to take a big bite out of what Games Workshop is doing, because for a $300 3D printer, I can print, like a whole army of creatures and monsters and stuff that might not be Games Workshop product. But, why should I have loyalty to a company that has no loyalty to me? It is what it is. So anyways, that's my rant about Games Workshop and what they're doing right now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next, I don't know, I think probably the next 3 or 4 years, we're going to see what really happens with that company and the direction that they're going. Because right now, like the last couple years, they've done really well in the stock market for the value of their company, but their stocks are dropping dramatically, and Warhammer Plus was a terrible failure. So we'll see where that goes, but they're definitely missing the 3D printing bandwagon, and I don't know if they have enough foresight to see that they're really missing out on that market, because that's probably the biggest place where we're going to see 3D printed miniatures and that whole hobby kind of go, is into the 3D printing realm. And obviously you can get a ton of Games Workshop themed products that other sculptors are doing to like proxy in for the Games Workshop models, which is great and all, because we do love that franchise and that lore, and a lot of us gamers started out with Warhammer 40k. But at the same time, do you really want to be ripping off a company that doesn't care about you, and in a roundabout way supporting their IP and supporting what their business is doing, even though you're basically stealing from them? But do you really want to be a part of that, whether it's negative or positive? All right, moving along. Let's talk about Aliens versus Predator, because obviously that's what I'm obsessed with. So, the last few years, we've had a lot of really cool stuff happening with Aliens and Predator IP products. Marvel has taken over the Predator and Alien comic book franchises, and Marvel just last month released the first issue of their Predator line. There was a little bit of delay on the Predator line because the original owners of the copyright of the Predator got in a little dispute with Fox about continuing the franchise and with the copyright and all that. But apparently, checks were signed and that got handled. Apparently, so it looks like Marvel and Disney are full steam ahead with their Predator-themed projects, including the movie Prey that came out last month. Now, Prey, my review of the movie is I don't think it's the best Predator movie. I think it could be in the top 4, maybe even number 3 in the lineup. However, my only real criticism of the film is that the Predator was CGI'd over the beautiful prosthetics and the creature design that Amalgamated Effects did for that film. And that company, they do such great work with monster suits, and just those stupid frickin' corporate Hollywood hacks just have to paint it over with CGI. Like, why do they keep doing this? CGI, you need to blend it in to real life effects. Why do you always have to just paint over these beautifully sculpted and painted prosthetic and amazing animatronics? I just don't get it. But anyways, yeah, the Predator film, the face of the Predator will bother me to death. It looks like the meme where there's that roast chicken for the face of the Predator. I freaking hate the design. But if you watch the behind the scenes footage of the actual animatronic mask, it looks great. It looks fine, and I can see why they ended up going with that design. It's not my favorite, but it was fine. And as far as all the woke stuff with that movie, yes, it checks all the woke boxes, but I feel like the director did it in a way to where it wasn't distracting from the story, and it was fine. Even the axe on a rope thing, which is freaking stupid, in real life, it looked cool in the movie. It was inspired by God of War. It was it was awesome. And she didn't use that on the Predator, that axe whipping thing. She only used it on a few of the French settlers that had captured her and stuff. So I felt like it was really cool that it didn't overuse any of that stuff, and it didn't make it ridiculous. And there was many times where she just looked at the Predator with the gun and the weapon in hand and just looked at that thing and was like, peace out, dude, I'm out. This isn't going to do anything to this monster, and she takes off. But just like Dutch in the first Predator movie, there was those little nods to that movie, which was fine. It's getting annoying that Hollywood always has to do that with their sequels. But in general, I thought it was really, really well handled, and it was an enjoyable movie. I had fun. I even liked the dub that they did in the native language. I thought that was great, and I'm a big fan of foreign films keeping the original tongue of the people from that is represented in the film. And at first I didn't understand why they shot it in English and then dubbed it in Comanche. But how many people, even from the Comanche nation, speak Comanche? So they got some real Comanche people to speak it over the film, and they did a pretty good job matching the lips. And I thought it was really cool that they did that. And I think it honors the Comanche people in a lot of way. And the Native American actors had a great time shooting. And a lot of them didn't even know when they were shooting Prey that they were going to be in a Predator film. They just oh, I got signed up for a film and I'm going to be a Comanche warrior. This is going to be great. I'm going to represent my people. And then oh crap, I'm fighting a Predator? Hell yeah, this is great. And I thought it was awesome. I thought they did a very good job honoring the Comanche nation in that sci-fi Predator movie. And it was great because I didn't think they did any disservice to at all. So anyways, I'm a big fan of Prey. I think it was good. I just think the Predator design was fucking stupid. So whatever. What can you do? Now, in the Predator Hunting Grounds game, we have a new skin that came out, and it was the Bionic Predator. And it reminds me a lot of the Predator from the Predator what was it? Concrete Jungle. There's action figures for Predator Concrete Jungle, including some of the cyber predators that were, messed with humans messed with the predators and turned them into robots. And that particular predator in the game, Predator Hunting Grounds, is pretty overpowered in a certain way, like maximum strength and gear and all this stuff. Handicapped a little bit in a couple of the other areas, but having like max health and then being able to have all these gear slots is incredible for that creature. And this the design of that monster just looks so good in the game, and like way better than some of like the Cleopatra Predator and the Viking Predator, which were cool ideas, and it's a neat design. But I think the new Bionic Predator turned out really good. And I'm actually, we have so many cool predators now in the Predator Hunting Grounds game. You've even got the mask from Prey in there now. You've got the mask from all the Predators in all the Predator movies and AVP movies. So you can actually make those Predators from the films in the game, including stuff outside of the game, like from the action figures and the comic books. And like they're really fleshing out the Predator line in the Predator Hunting Grounds game. My only critique is the Predator Hunting Grounds game hasn't had new levels put in a long time, and on the human side of things, we've got Dutch 1987, and we got Dutch 2024, and then we've also got Isabella from Predators, the movie. She's in there. So it'd be cool if we got Royce or even some of the old classic humans, like Danny Glover's character from Predator 2. It'd be great to have him in it. And a new city map. Like, why don't they release a city map? Who knows? Maybe they're working on Predator Hunting Grounds 2, and maybe they'll do that. I don't know. They just need to add more levels and just get on it. But I know it's a niche. It's a niche, but I still play it. I think it's a lot of fun. If you play Predator Hunting Grounds, add me on, add me to your friends. My handle is crackedtusk, all one word, lowercase. Just type in crackedtusk. That's me, the AVP Wargamer. Type that in and join me with some Predator Hunting Grounds sometime. So that's the news for that side of the AVP stuff. Other AVP news coming out. So we have not only the comic books are still going on through Marvel, which they're okay. The art works pretty good, but meh on the storyline. But they're also coming out with the new Aliens TV series on Hulu sometime soon. I also heard that they're going to be coming out with a new Alien movie, which is going to have nothing to do with Ridley Scott, apparently. I think Ridley Scott's lined up to produce it, but I think it's storyline wise, it's gonna have nothing to do with Prometheus and all that stuff for the most part. So we're gonna see. We'll see. There's not much information on that out yet. That's coming up soon and down the pipeline. So stay tuned here, and I'll give you more news about that. Okay, let's talk about our print of the day. The Papskles Omega Cololax. I think that's how you pronounce it. Cololax Titan. This is 3D printed. I printed this on my AnyCubic Photon Mono, and it turned out really good. I painted it up to be all Geiger-y themed. It was basically one piece with the base separate. 3D printers are just so cool. When I started 3D printing, I was a little bit worried about all these monopose kind of models that just have that one pose and you can't mess with it and make it your own. But I print so much of this stuff, it actually kind of saves me time not having to pose these guys, which is kind of fun. But again, Papskles is the creator of this. He's got a Patreon that next month, or this month, October, he's releasing a bunch of skull hunters, a whole clan of skull hunters, which I'm going to put the pictures here. These skull hunters are very much inspired by the Predator Prey movie. But of course, it's his own aliens that are not predators. They are skull hunters. And anyways, yeah, he does. For I think I pay $20 a month, and I'm getting like more than 10 models on the kind of the sci-fi alien predator theme side, and then I'm getting another 10, 15 models of the cyberpunk persuasion. So and you can support him at different tiers. He did not sponsor this at all. I'm just a fan of some of his work, and he does a lot of Alien vs. Predator and Independence Day themed stuff. Like, just check out myminifactory.com. He's got a ton of crap there that's really cool. You can buy them individually, or if you want the real big deal, support him on Patreon, and you'll get a crap ton of miniatures every month. Anyways, yeah, these skull hunters are the ones that are coming out in October. I've been backing him for over a year now. I can't believe it. I was looking at my files. I'm like, oh my god, I've been giving this guy money for a year, and I've been backing his Kickstarters, and so I've got a crap ton of stuff to print, and I have been printing a crap ton of stuff too. So I'm going to show that on this channel. Every channel from now, or every episode from now on, I'm going to have my print of the day, and we're going to get through a lot of Papskles stuff because, again, it fits my Alien Predator theme a lot, and I'm really into it. Hey everybody, so I hope you had fun today. Thanks for letting me rant. I hope you learned a little bit about what's going on with Games Workshop, a little bit about some really cool new 3D printing stuff, and maybe you hadn't heard about the Alien Predator news. Either way, I hope you had fun. Subscribe, comment, do all the stuff down below. I'll have links to some other cool things down in the description area. I'll try to put the links to Papskles and the links to the Northern Exile, and maybe if I find some other links of some other cool stuff, I'll start putting that down below too. See you in the next video, and this time it's wargaming.